Kind of what did you have working for you there in the second half?
I think we started to get stops more. Like our defensive got better, and then, yeah, I don't know, we were sharing the ball really well. So I think my teammates found me where I'm most comfortable, and yeah, I didn't know that, so that's fun. It's exciting.
Lucy, I thought maybe you teared up a little bit watching Caitlin's jersey go up to the rafters. Can you just describe what that was like for you?
It was really cool. I mean, every time I watch any of her highlights or anything, I'm like, wow, she's so good. And she practiced the other day. I was like, wow, this is so cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's just amazing, and everything she's done for the sport. And like that's part of the reason I'm here, because of how much she's grown women's basketball. So, yeah.
Either of you tell me about that start. I mean, they started 1 for 21 from the field. How were you able to do that defensively? I mean, this had been one of the best defensive efforts.
Yeah, that was like really a part of our game plan, was focusing on our defense and really making sure that Juju was going to pass to other people, make other people hurt us. Obviously, Juju was going to get her own points, but not to get discouraged by that. And when she wasn't hitting and no one was hitting, we were just rolling, and that gave us a lot of confidence going into the start of the game.
Chad.
Addi, you got a roll in there as well as Lucy in the fourth quarter, but I couldn't help but notice a couple of those were elbow shots, that went same one you missed against Oregon. So what was working for you today, and that kind of put some of that away?
Yeah, I think we just work on those shots so much in practice that the one at Oregon I was surprised that I missed, honestly, because we work on it so much. But it was definitely really cool to see two of them fall today after being disappointed by that one miss in Oregon.
Oh, Lucy, it seems like in that fourth quarter especially, you were just hitting everything. It seems like you were in a rhythm like we maybe haven't seen you get into yet here at Iowa. Could you feel that too? Like this was maybe what you came here to Iowa for, what you came here to do?
Yeah, I've been struggling just because we've been losing, and I feel like I haven't helped a lot with helping my team get the win. But I'm glad today the shots were falling. I think in practice we've all been clicking a lot better. I think it just takes time sometimes, and 5 new starters pretty much, like Sid and Hannah have been here, but the rest of us, we needed to learn to play with each other. And yeah, I think it was clicking the past few practices. We had Washington, we had a glimpse of it, and then I think now we're rolling. So.
Yeah, you look at the atmosphere walking into this environment where people were here 10, 15 minutes before the whole arena was packed, and it was loud. Got up to 118 I had sometimes on decibels. What was it like for you guys to play in this? And just, especially for you, because this is kind of what it was like a lot last year, but to be able to be a part of this kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, it was cool. I know Jan has talked to me a few times and was like, this is what you came here for, play your game, you got this. But yeah, I noticed how loud it was. First, when I went out to shoot, there were already people in the stadium. I was like, what is this? People aren't supposed to be here yet. But yeah, and then when we came out to warm up, it was so loud already. The tip-off, it was like my ears. I was like, I hope it gets a little quieter because I can't hear anything. But no, we've been practicing with sound too. The coaches did a good job of preparing us for it. And yeah, every time I looked around, I was like, wow, this is crazy. I can't believe I'm here right now. But I'm glad we got the win in front of all those people, and greatest fan section there is, yeah.
Nancy.
And how difficult is it, not just losing Caitlin, but you lose Kate, you lose Gabby, to replace that and find a new rhythm with the team? And can this win, on top of the couple previous ones, can this really spark you guys for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think obviously losing all of your starters is really hard, but I think it really just speaks to the culture of this program, how fast, honestly, we're able to rebuild, and everyone trusts one another, and we trust our coaches. And definitely these past 3 games really have given us a huge spark, and the one today, biggest spark that we could have gotten in front of 15,000 people and Caitlin and all of our old teammates. And this is definitely probably a 6th defender on the court here tonight.
Dargan.
Addi, just how much do you feel like handling everything today can improve and move forward the mental fortitude of this team?
Yeah, I think today really showed us how good we can be, that we can win and we can stay in any game with any team, that we're really good. And now we can fully believe it because we have a win against a really, really good team.
Mm-hmm.
you didn't have Hannah Stulke in the fourth quarter, and so it was a sort of a heavy day for you, especially Addi. So I guess sort of being thrown into that position and trying to come away with a victory against a top 5 team. What was it like to sort of find yourself in that role with a lead to protect down the stretch?
If I've learned anything from these 4 years, it's always be ready when your number is called. I'm just going to go in and do what the team needs at any time, whenever the coaches decide to put me in, whatever I can do for the team, I'm going to be ready for it. And I feel like as a senior now, I've taken a bit more leadership role, and I can just kind of calm down maybe some of the underclassmen and really just make a big impact on the game.
Thanks, guys.
Former, as someone who specialized in the post position during the Lisa Bluter era, you had 2 of your post players out there tonight. Both of them scored in double figures. Can you talk me through that a little bit?
Well, first off, I'm really proud of both of them, but I thought Addi O'Grady, she's got a really difficult job from the outside, right? She started, she didn't, we're here, we're there, and she's just stayed really ready. And what I love about that, it's such a great lesson, I think, to a lot of kids on different teams. And I'd like to point out Hannah Stulke, because she was seeing how Addi was going. That top and in look, that's my favorite. I'd prefer not as much with this particular team to enter it from the wing. And when we enter it from the top, a lot of good things happen. So when it was rolling, Hannah was just cheering her little heart out. So I felt like just with the way when I watched their defense, that particular top and in look, and I felt like we could have we have success. We see, you got to see in the game. And then Addi just got pretty confident. And then when, Addi would kind of float to that elbow, some ball screen action when they were icing, Addi's pretty good out there. So I'm really, really happy for both of them, but really happy for how selfless they both are.
We've seen Lucy Olsen play some good basketball. We've seen her struggle at times since she's coming here to Iowa, especially in Big Ten play a little bit. But just talk about what you saw from her in the second half. That looked like the Lucy Olsen that played at Villanova last year.
Well, in that third quarter, it was somewhere, I can't remember, it's a blur, after one of the shots, right before it started. I went up to her and I just said, I looked at her, I said, you got to know how much I believe in you. I said, it's go time. Just because sometimes she's such a great kid, and I think, what's harder to understand from the outside is when you transfer in as a senior and you're a point guard, you're still very new and you're trying to learn it and run it, and there's a lot that happens in your head, and so she's just wants to do so well, and she's felt the pressure too. So I just went up to her and we just had a moment, and I was just trying to free her up, and then she got one to go, and then when she gets one to go, and then some of those little fades and floaters, then they become a little bit more confident on the delivery. So I just am so happy for her to that she got to play free, and people I think really got to see that start to translate. I do think coming into learn a new system and the physicality, game in and game out. We're still working how to adjust to that.
Boy, Jan, so many factors today. Caitlin's jersey retirement, top 14 coming to town, just national televised game. How did your team live up to the pressure that came with what today had to offer?
I think I'm just so doggone grateful. Kind of a funny story. On Friday, so Friday, Saturday, the game was Sunday. We were talking about, we knew it was happening, but that was the day I kind of talked about how great it was going to be. I really wanted them to embrace it and just be like, how awesome is this moment? And so I talked a lot about the freshman. I'm like, part of the reason you came, you watched her, and that was part of the excitement of that era, and you'll get a feel of that. I said it's a top 5 matchup. This is why you came, to have those. And then I looked at the upperclassmen and said, and now you can lead the way, because when it kind of became Beatlemania with us at the end of that last year, we found the way. I said, but that 40 minutes, that it's us versus USC, we will celebrate her afterwards. So got everybody there. Well, what I didn't know is on Friday, they put all those 22 towels up. So we walk in after I just was like 40 minutes of us, and it was like 22. And so I looked at the players and I thought, okay, everybody's still with me. And they all kind of chuckled, right? Because I was trying to set the scene. But I think they understand, and they're proud of that. And they just, I think they left it where it was. It was a moment. It was cool. It was going to be after the game. And that's what I tried to do. But yeah, did I, you feel the weight of that? I did. But mostly it was good because I wanted to have Caitlin's day be good top to bottom. And I think they did too.
If could have scripted today, the whole day, I mean, could it have gone any better? Was this a perfect day?
Yeah, aside the second quarter, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, I think what I told the team after the game, what I'm so happy for them about is, they've been staying the course, right? After Maryland all the way up, and they keep coming, and they keep, leaning in, and, we keep, working. And I was so happy they got this moment because so many, they've, had it go the other way, right? And it's a possession here, it's a possession there. And I really challenged them at halftime. And I said, you know what, not today. Not after everything you've been through. I said, there is a moment. And I don't think this defines the season by any means. I think, Minnesota played USC, had it to 6, I think, at one point at USC. And the Big Ten's so tough. But what it is such a great lesson. A life lesson of adversity is hard, but if you keep showing up, it's going to turn. And so that's why I feel really grateful for. And I'm just so happy for them because I just really love coaching them. I just couldn't, as I've said before, I just really couldn't have a better group to start in this particular area.
Scott. Obviously, this was a huge, even a landmark win of some sorts for you personally, for this program. But then there's also the sport at large, which Caitlin kind of defined and brought to a higher level. And your opponent had all the players sit on the bench and watch and absorb it. And even your fans cheered Juju Watkins as opposed to some other fans.
Right.
What does that mean for the sport, but also for what Iowa represents, that you have a top 4 team that respects the tradition and history?
Yeah, I think those of us that have been in women's sports for so long, right? We've been there when people weren't. We've been there when you had some pretty great athletes that weren't generational, but there wasn't as many people watching them. But it's that same thing, the lessons, the work ethic, playing for the joy, for the love of the game. And now we've hit a moment in time where I thought Lisa said it best after the game. It's wise to support women, and it's smart, and it's great, all the things. But I think, all the people in women's basketball now, they really appreciate what Caitlin and company did, and hopefully what we did here at the University of Iowa. And, Caitlin's 101. And so I think, most teams would have wanted to stay to see that respect, but I certainly thought it was cool that Lindsay and her group did. But I just think it is a moment in time for everyone when a GOAT like Caitlin gets to have the moment.
How'd you feel like you did against Juju in terms of your approach coming in and what you wanted to accomplish?
I mean, I loved our game plan before the game, and I thought it held true. I mean, she took, I got glasses. She took a lot of shots to get, her points. She's going to get her points. I mean, she's great, right? Free throws, where she 10 for 11. But I think, making it hard. That's what you got to do with the great ones. You just try to make it hard and make other people beat you, which they did. I mean, on occasion, right? The threes went in. The 55 hadn't, I think she probably ended up with about where her average was. But I thought we did a pretty good job trying to crowd her, trying to, when she saw a seam, that we were quickly there. And I was happy with our zone. I thought zone, I wanted our zone to work. You guys haven't seen the zone very often this year. So I was, the first half, we didn't need to play it. It's kind of hard to go to it. I really thought we'd go to it earlier, but we were holding serve until we kind of unraveled offensively a bit. So then the second half, I thought that was a really good shift to go mostly zone. So she's a great player. And I mean, she's just smooth and all the things, but I think our players did a pretty good job with that game plan.
Looked like we didn't see Hannah Stolke in the fourth quarter. Just wanted to ask about what her status is, her availability, and then.
Well, I think I addressed that earlier. It's just being a good teammate.
Oh.
I mean, Addi came into that fourth, and I was so proud of Addi when we're rolling and going fast. I don't mean that negatively. I'm just saying it's just a teammate, selfless. Because Addi, when it was going in there, Addi, that top and in look, Addi ended up being 6 for 8, and she had a really great offensive rebound and putback, and she was pretty big in there against some of their size of 44 and 13. And, Hannah had those 4 fouls, and so we just made that decision to kind of keep going with what, felt. But Hannah's terrific in the sense of, I think she understood, because a lot of the times, first half Hannah did really, really great. So there's no really status to report other than they're just really good, selfless teammates, and I think they understood the mission.
John.
Yeah.
Your press break struggled for a stretch there. Did you make an adjustment, and what did you tell the team when things really unraveled there for a bit? And then it seemed like it got a little better.
It did get better, but we just that's what the press can do, is that residual. And we've been running it beautifully. And we have 2 that we like, but we just, all of a sudden, we got hesitant. And then when you get hesitant on your heels against a really great team, so we went in, we were catching a little low. You don't want to catch it low in the corners. You want to catch it higher, and you need to look for the slicer, and my 5 was way too far. But when we have this great crowd, you're trying not to blow every time out, and you think you got it until you ain't got it, right? And so at halftime, we went back, were able to draw it up, and then we went between a zone press breaker and one of our player press breakers. Even though they kept in zone sometimes, it still freed us up to, go to 4-1 or 1-4 and back to her. So we just lost our way. We got much more aggressive in the second half with it. But yeah, I wasn't pleased with that. Way too many turnovers, but we just didn't stay strong in our mind.
Nancy.
Jan, you said that this game isn't going to define the season, but when you've lost as much as you guys did and you've had the changes that you guys did, how much can a game like this help with the belief that that you've settled into a way?
Yeah, and I think what I meant by that, certainly I'm thrilled, grateful, thankful. I think I'll sleep a little better tonight, all the things. But what I meant is, there are, 7 games left in the season, right? And look, I mean, we've been a 1 possession in every game I've replayed in my mind thousands of times and learned and all the things, I think we called great timeouts to advance tonight. We maybe hadn't done that as well a couple games ago. So I think it really will help us with that belief. What positive out of a negative, we still didn't shoot great tonight, right? But we're able to win. If we can shoot it a little better and hold our defense, I think there's a lot of promise for this next 7 games into hopefully some, love it to be the big tournament, right? But this team, I think you saw how much we counted on Guyton. I think you see what Strimlow can do when she's in, right? And Mulaney got a couple minutes. She's going to be coming. But those minutes that we're getting are going to be so valuable, I hope. It'll keep stacking wins. But I think the future, building into next year and the following. So I would love to think that, but, maybe I'm, just a little gun shy. I mean, we still need to handle the press, right? We need to make shots. And I know when we're going to Minnesota, they're going to be coming off 2 losses. We've had some big wins at Minnesota. And a lot of people remember Caitlin Clark in this jersey. And so when we go into an environment, sometimes it's like, whoa, we get an incredible shot. So I think I'm just trying to stay steady. But obviously, a top 4 win is huge. I'm incredibly proud of them, and I intend to build on it. But I do know the youth that we have sometimes, and we count on them a lot. And sometimes when you get in those tough stretches, we got a lot of tough road games ahead of us. So I'm being cautiously optimistic.
Obviously a lot of great players over the years, but now 3 in the Raptors. What's it like to see that? And obviously Michelle was before your time, but what do you kind of see as the common thread between them?
I mean, I think the common thread between anybody that gets a jersey retired is just their mental fortitude. They're just able to do things that most people can't. And it just starts with the work ethic, but there's an expectation for greatness. And I feel so blessed to have been part of Caitlin's ride, but also Megan Gustafson. And Michelle Edwards with Vivian Stringer era, they laid the foundation. But the great ones, it's just really cool to be around them, the way they're wired. They're wired just with a confidence that is, it's just uncanny, and it can lift everyone up. And if you get everybody aligned just right to allow their confidence to buoy everybody else, you can hit it. And that's what really happened. Megan took us to Elite Eight, and then Caitlin, of course, with her story. So, I think as a coach, I said even when I got this job, I just couldn't have had it any better. I've had such a blessed career here in my dream job, and then I just got my dream job with a different title. So my goal is to hopefully maybe get one more up there someday in this era. But I thought today was I think it's really a nice it's a nice moment for them, because I know what it looked like from the outside, but we just kept in our team. And just like the next day and progress. So today, I think you saw a lot of the things that I've seen in my locker room and on the court, and I'm really happy for them.